What's up, guys? Johnny NoSurf, lifeafterinternet.com, NoSurf podcast number 4, and I got it titled here, Emotional Currency and Forum Addiction. I'm going to get into that in a minute. It is July 2nd, 2016, 10:29 a.m. So I'm going to do this one take just like the last one because honestly, I hate editing this podcast, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Getting it to you live. Okay, so let's see what I got for notes here. So, emotional currency. This is something a lot of people don't think about, but it's easy to understand. It's easy to understand emotional currency. To be honest, I don't know where I got the term. It's something I've been thinking about for the past year or so. I just crushed a book in 2 days, actually. And it's talking about building up communities, like how to build up a community offline, of course, right? He never talked about the term, but that's where I kind of derived it from. So you have a limited amount of emotional currency. You can only care about so many things in a day, a week, a month, a year. You can only care about so many people. You can only care about so many places. That's it. You can only care about so many things. You can pretend to care about more than that, but you really don't. Like, there is a limiting amount. I know crack.com had a great article about the monkey sphere, how chimps can only care about like 50 people based on some part in their brain. I remember reading that article years and years and years ago, man. It was like 2007 when they put out that article, maybe 2010. It was around then. I haven't been on Cracked in a while, but yeah, I remember. I think it was David Wong. He put out that article, The Monkey Sphere. Great article. Chimps can only care about 50 other chimps. Anything after that, they just can't care. Their brain can't process that many other chimps. And for people, it's like guesstimated at 150 to like 250 people. You can only really care about 250 people. Anything after that, you just don't have the space in your brain. You don't have the processing power to actually care about more than 250 people. So you have a limited amount of emotional currency. If you can only care about 250 people, there is a limit to you're going to give something more and something less. You have a limited amount of emotional currency that you can spend on people or events or things. In other words, you only have so many fucks. You only have so many fucks. Right? So what do you care about? Well, I just wrote down what I care about. You're probably pretty similar. If not, leave a comment. So family, right? Whether you like them or you don't, you care about your family. Your job, whether you like it or you don't, you care about your job. Your side businesses. I know a lot of young guys. My best friend here in town, we're all building up side businesses, right? Obviously, lifeafterinternet.com. I'm building this up. I'm also building up a supplement company. Domain is thegainsfactory.com, but I just redirect that to Life After Internet right now. Still working on the blend. Pretty much have it figured out, but to actually start an LLC and get all this stuff going, because it's a pre-workout supplement. All right, so it's got a bunch of caffeine. These are pretty open for a lawsuit, so you have to form an LLC, which costs money. So I'm saving up for that and paying off school while I'm in school. So that's fun, but I'm not talking about that. So you can only care about so many things: family, your job, side businesses, a few friends, right? You care about your friends. And man, once you get those things out of the way, I mean, you're kind of out of fucks. Like, if you have more fucks, maybe you have a girlfriend or a couple girlfriends or whatever, right? Or if you're a girl listening, you have a boyfriend. Maybe you care about your fraternity or sorority. Maybe you have a couple charities that you really like. Like, I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity a bunch, and I really liked it. So, like, obviously I cared about the people I was working with and building the house for the community. I forget where they came from. I think the family... I wish I knew where the family came from. I know their last name. I'm not going to say it. But it was from the Middle East. They're a family from the Middle East. They had like 6 kids.
And Habitat for Humanity, they built my house, and I did my fair share of moving cinder blocks and wheelbarrows full of concrete for the foundation, and it was good. It was a learning experience. It was good to be out in the sun on weekends. Instead of being hungover or something, actually building something. So that's totally off topic. I wasn't even in my notes, but that's an example of building offline community, building connections in the real world, and getting out there instead of fucking around on Reddit, reading stupid shit. Or as I'm gonna get to, form addiction. On the construction side of things, though, we did. It was like 5 guys. My Our pastor there, he gave us a call Thursday. He ordered a shed from Costco like 3 weeks ago, and then they just dropped it off randomly on like a Tuesday on his front yard, and it was like really heavy. It was like 2 boxes, and he's like, "Okay, like got these 2 boxes on my front yard. I don't want anyone to steal my shed when I'm not home. So if you guys come help me move it in the backyard, and then maybe even build it, if you guys could come." So I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna take like an hour to build this shed." Like, this will be nothing, right? 5 guys will crush it. I mean, it was usually 3 at a time, and then like one would leave, 2 would show up, one would leave, another one would show up. Everyone kind of did their little shifts there. Yeah, it took 5 hours to build this shed. That's a long time. That's a long time to build a shed. But I mean, we got it done. Looks good. It's all level and it looks good. It's made of composite, so it should, it's not going to rot as older ones would. And because it's wood and rotten, it's full of wasps. So that was Thursday. Today's Saturday. Sometime today, we're going to bust down his old one and somehow not get eaten alive by wasps. We got to smoke them out or spray them or something. Bust down all that rotten wood and then actually slide the new shed over onto the concrete pad once we get all the old rotten wood and nails and stuff out of there. So, yeah, anyways, that's today. I'm getting totally off topic. I'm just rambling. Okay. But yeah, you can only give so many fucks. Clearly, I give a fuck about my pastor and the guys who all volunteered there just to get it done out of our own free time. Maybe other people would have been watching YouTube videos just saying, "Oh, I'm bored," but we were fucking around in the sun, screwing this whole thing together. So that's an example of what you can do out in brick and mortar world instead of staring at a screen. Okay, now I'm going to get into form addiction. Now I'm going to talk about my experiences with form addiction. Okay, form addiction. So clearly I was just talking about friendships in the real world. How you can get together and do stuff like that. I did do in the second podcast, right? I talked about different ways to go out and meet people in your community and build those friendships. Here I'm going to talk about form addiction and how building these online, very shallow, short term, they're entertaining, long term, they're not sustaining. They can never go truly deep. So ultimately, out of your limited emotional currency, your limited amount of fucks, it's going to siphon off, it's going to steal some of the fucks that you're supposed to be putting into your community. Internet forums steal your fucks, the fucks that you're supposed to be giving to your family, your job, your side business, and your friends and your community. You're supposed to be out there volunteering and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to get into it. Age 16, I was in like grade 11, and I found this bodybuilding forum, and it was great, and I learned a lot about bodybuilding, and that really helped as far as motivation and knowing what exercises to do and the importance of eating, which is a big shift when you're used to eating 2 or 3 meals a day, and everyone eats 2 or 3 meals a day, and you don't have athletes or bodybuilders or anything like that in your life as a teenager, to go and then have someone say, "Okay, now you need to eat 68 meals a day. Every meal has to have protein. You have to go to the gym 6 to 7 times a week. You have to be, you have to do 3 exercises per body part. You got to do the reps, and it's going to take years, right? It's going to take at least 2 or 3 years. You can see changes in like 3 months, but to really build that solid mass that's not going to just blow away with the wind. Like I'm happy where I'm at now, but it's taken me 7 years to get to like a body weight and a size that I'm happy with. But like it wasn't the first 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It's like, what am I doing? Like I'm still not getting these results. Now, if I had better mentors, I probably could have gotten to where I'm at in like 3 if I had those kind of people physically in my life who I could train with. But all my role models were online, so they weren't with me doing the reps. Bust my balls about taking too many days off and stuff like that. Bust my balls about not putting on size fast enough. But I do have that type of community now a little bit, so that definitely helps. But when I was on this forum, man, I was on there. I got on there at age 16, and I learned a lot. And I stayed on it until I was like 20. And by the time I was 20, I figured out that I wasn't learning anything new and that it was turning into a big time sink. I started reading about like NoFap and stuff like that. And I did the NoFap thing, and I was like, man, this forum's got to go. Like, this is keeping me stuck to that old way of thinking, and I need a new way of thinking, right? And it's been like 4 years of NoSurf now, 4 years of NoFap. Obviously, the habits don't disappear immediately. You have to really fight them and like scrub them out of your life, and then they come back in different forms. But I think this podcast is going to be good for you guys, and it's certainly cathartic for me. I think that's the right word. Is that the right word? I don't know. Putting out this podcast helps me because these are thoughts that I haven't had anywhere to put. I want the type of thoughts I would put on a forum, honestly. And initially, I thought of lifeafterinternet.com. I thought of making it a forum because that's what I was so used to online. And there is the NoFap forums, right? And there's the Your Brain on Porn forums. And I had an account on there, and I had like a bunch of posts, and I was getting all emotionally invested in it. And I thought, no, man, this isn't the answer, man. Building up these online communities with all these posts and stupid pictures, like this is not what I need to do at like 21 years old. So yeah, lifeafterinternet.com started off with a forum, and I got rid of it before anyone really got on it. Thankfully, that's not what I want, man. That's not what I want for the website. That's not what I want for you guys. I want you guys to get the fuck off your computers. Don't listen to this podcast at home. Download. Press that download button. Don't press play. Press download. Put on your MP3. Put on your phone, and get the fuck out of your house. Really, get the fuck out of your shitty apartment. Which I can see though. I can see that on the back end. I can see the plays for like the fourth one were way down. And I'm like, why the play so low? But then you look at the amount of downloads, and it's like, oh, okay, they're actually listening. They're actually changing their lives. This is really important. Because you can sit on these self-improvement websites all day. Is your life going to get better? I don't know. You tell me. I mean, in little doses here and there, for sure. For sure it'll help you to keep the right mindset. But, I mean, like, if you think spending 4 hours a day reading self-improvement websites is going to improve your life, it's not. It's just going to give you eye strain, right? It's going to make you antisocial. You got to spend that time doing something. You got to be building something, right? You got to have hobbies. You got to have friends. You got to be volunteering. You got to give a lot of that energy and effort away for free. You got to give a lot of those fucks away for free. Don't think about what you're going to get back. Just think about giving away for free, and it'll start snowballing. So, okay, forum addiction. Stay on topic. So if you get sucked into a forum and you're reading all this stuff, right? They're putting out all this stuff, all these usernames are putting out all this stuff, and you're reading it. You're reading the stuff. You're gonna give a fuck. You're gonna give a fuck, whether you want to or not, whether you consented to giving the fuck or not. By reading the stuff, you're getting emotionally invested in the outcome or in the punchline or whatever the news headline is or whatever the post is. You're by reading it in its entirety, you are giving your fuck, and emotions be damned, right? You're putting your emotions in it. You're emotionally invested in the information, and it's just information. Like information, it's like a textbook. It's like a newspaper. That information doesn't care about you, right? Like it's just words on a screen, words on a illuminated screen on a plastic laptop or on a phone, right? It's not. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to describe, especially over a mic and not in person. But I gave 4 years of my life to that forum, from age 16 to 20, 24 now. So it's been about 4 years since.
So yeah, that's my story on forum addiction.
How I spent 4 years on there. It's been about 4 years since I left.
I'm sure some of you guys and girls, good folks of the internet, I'm sure some of you guys are on forums.
Maybe you've already left them. Reddit can act like that in kind of the same way because there's so many threads, right? There's so many posts. There's so many comments. You're talking to usernames. You're talking to usernames on a laptop. You're talking to usernames on a phone. It's not a real conversation. Man, when you get some space between you and the internet, you'll understand a little bit better, or maybe you understand perfectly well and I'm just preaching the choir. I think most of you guys have all are thoroughly biased towards NoSurf, so that's why I feel like I can really dig deep and get into these tangents. But I'm gonna cut the podcast off here. I know I've been rambling quite a bit, which I do apologize for. But man, do I hate editing! Man, do I hate editing! I just want to give you guys the conversation. I don't want to edit it, but somebody's got to do it, so I'll do it. All right, so once again, it's Johnny NoSurf, lifeafterinternet.com. Today is July 2nd, 2016. Canada Day weekend for us. If you're in the States, July 4th weekend. So I know you got a lot of free time. So turn off the laptop, go say hi to some people, man. Go say, go hang out with your fraternity, with your sorority. Just do some stuff in brick and mortar land. Get off the internet. Johnny NoSurf, lifeafterinternet.com. Have a good weekend.